Hello and welcome to another modelling video. This is Alan from the Man at YouTube with another 3D printing video. Making the Ordo Mediare Sisters Garage Kit 3D sculpt by TheGreatPipmax. The Ordo Sisters are an OC line of art by Iron Lilly, who creates anime art inspired by historical reenactment and swordplay hobbies, particularly popular with myself and friends in the local lab community. The file is a very high poly at low megabyte storage with 13 interconnecting parts, freestanding with base, expertly sculpted, with some decent details such as rivets and folds in clothing and wood grain behind the shield. Lots to dig in for painting. Pretty much made quick work in revolving in the correct orientation for ideal printing, adding supports, hollowing and drain holes. Saving each part as an individual STL file using the native Anycubic slicing software, saving everything into one bed and slicing into a G-code file with slightly slower retraction and more exposure than standard settings. I'm using the Anycubic Mono X 6K printer with Jayo standard resin. With an aftermarket heating band, the resin was pre-toasted to a 35-40 degree temperature, mixed thoroughly and the bed pre-primed and wettened before engaging the print. 8 hours and a couple of 100 grams later, we came with a completely successful print. Prying the model off into a container, I used methylated spirits known as denatured alcohol to clean everything up, reclaiming it a few times before disposal, then taking it outside to naturally cure under the sun's UV rays. Depending on the weather and time of year, this can vary in cutting its tackiness. I also add a very light mesh at the bottom of the rafts to promote bed adhesion and hold everything together for the storage and cleaning process, especially if there's a lot of parts involved. These are cut away. In support removal, I boiled some water and put it back in the same container to dip the supports waterline to the model, softening up the resin so it can easily peel off. It does leave behind a pocked surface and some areas are tricky to remove, so these are manually trimmed with nippers, including detailed or very fragile items. This is a fairly tedious and time-consuming job that I don't particularly enjoy. The ease of it is all from the editing and slicing where you apply the supports, where you have to be strategic in adding it where it doesn't interfere with connecting points and not visible on surface detail. Add too dense supports and you've got a lot of issues ruining detail and having difficulty removing. Too few supports and you can have failed prints. This takes a few projects, failures and time to figure out. Cured UV reactive resin is a lot harder and behaves far differently to cast resin, which is quite soft and easy to sand and carve. This is incredibly brittle and can crack and shard and extremely hard, so not friendly on hand tools, but if you drop it, it will smash to pieces if too hollow. A solid print may split and not cure properly inside. A hollow print will trap resin and may explode from heat at a later date, requiring drainage holes. Find the easiest way to deal with these pock surfaces and any issues is using a Dremel at a low speed and grinding it down flat. Of course, outside with respiratory protection. With printing, there's also minor movement and light bleed or layer stepping issues that leave parts with a precision fit not to suddenly fit after printing. This is up to the clearance that the sculptor or designer has put in. This particular one is pretty good, but there was still some gaps and required the joints to be machined and sanded down a little further. I also decided with the color separation what components I'll be gluing together to paint and what would be color separatable and glued later. For added strength, some parts had a steel wire inside before being glued together for the stronger stability. In the end, all the parts come together and can stand upright under its own weight. Starting the painting process, I'm applying lacquer paint straight onto the bare resin, automotive grade thinned with industrial lacquer thinner. Starting off with the flesh, which was airbrushed, and all details hand painted with different hobby grades from Mr. Hobby to Tamiya. And being a bit more efficient with time and effort, and the lack of colour separation and desire not to do a lot of masking, I hand painted the base colour of many areas, hit it with thinner via the airbrush to self-level and smooth out, loosely sloppily mask whatever areas I don't want paint to land on, and a second tone of a much lighter colour highlight and shade areas to give the illusion of depth. As there's many layers of clothing and detail, I was strategic in where I put a lot of effort in shading and detail, and other areas just a single or double colour like the pants and any Under Armour. I was very fortunate that Iron Lilly has produced so much art and even reference of these characters. I had a complete breakdown of all the equipment and tones of colour. The base was pre-shaded and a lot of hand painting, such as the detail on the shield, face, eye makeup, belts and metal ends at the end of the weapons. For all the components painted, they were allowed a week or more to fully dry and chemically harden, as if I was handling not to damage, chip or leave fingerprints into the paint. With the same builder's adhesive I used to glue the resin parts together, the painted parts were assembled. Tamiya Accent Colour Panel Line wash was mixed with gum terps and applied to detail for depth, finished with a matte clear varnish applied via airbrush. All this done and dusted, concluding the build. Looking back in the editing process, it's always fascinating watching a download and a vat full of liquid turn into a built and tangible piece. Especially a niche line of art and content creator, I really like merchandise sitting here right before me. It's a little different from my usual style and selection of models, but definitely in my taste and something I like. With that and the breakdown of the model, the approach is completely different to my normal 3D print or garage kits. I think I still prefer traditional cast resin garage kits over the resin 3D printables, as you avoid the extra tedious part of removing the supports and all the extra time, digitally slicing, editing, and previously the anxiety of failure while printing at the perils of material, temperature, weather, and my machine. But with time and learning, I think I've got a bit of a grasp and understanding of the medium and process, and fairly happy with this. It is a quicker, mental, more fun build. Maybe a scope of approximately 10, a little over that in hours, but thoroughly enjoy it and love it. I'll be gifting this to a good LARP friend who lives in a share house with other hobbyists, most likely on display for many others visiting from the same networking group, who I hope they all enjoy. This concludes the project and video. Thank you very much for watching, and as always, until next time, stay tuned for further content. Please check out the description section for references, further information, and most importantly, download link for the file if you wish to build and print your own. Be sure to share your print with the 3D artist in the make section of the listing, as it also helps them out quite a bit and enjoy seeing being created and consumed. And we'll catch you guys later. See ya.